That is hugely impressive from Juan Ayuso. What a statement he's made here. He waited, he was patient, and when he delivered the blow, it was an absolute killer move from Juan Ayuso. A winner at the Giro d'Italia. The battle for second place is going to go the way of his teammate, Isaac Del Toro. It's all UAE at the finish line. Bernal in a brilliant third place.
Stage 8 of the Giro d'Italia, 197 kilometres from the Adriatic coast inland to a finish in Castel Raimondo in Marche. A lot of climbing along the way, and from a long way out, many of the riders will have earmarked this stage for the first bona fide chance of a breakaway. Mads Pedersen included, of course, no longer in the Maglia Rosa. That belonged to Primož Roglic, once more of Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. Juan Ayuso in the white jersey alongside Mads Pedersen and Primož Roglic at the start line for what would no doubt be a fast and furious start as riders rolled out of Giulianova and on towards kilometre zero. A big fight immediately for the breakaway of the day. The Wout van Aert thoroughly involved, prizing repeated groups away, but nothing in the opening kilometres seemed to stick. That was until Mattia Cattaneo, Davide De Preto and Mads Pedersen in the Maglia Ciclamino got off the front and held on to a stubborn advantage of 20-25 seconds. Repeated attempts to try and get across failed from a number of teams, more than a dozen teams trying to get in the breakaway of the day that really mattered. The battle in the end went on for 87 kilometres through the first sprint of the day at Rocca Fluvione, where Mads Pedersen added to his points in the Maglia Ciclamino before eventually those three riders dropped back to the peloton. And the next attacks came. This time Nairo Quintana with a couple of riders from Polti Visit Malta, including Davide Piganzoli, their team leader in the general classification. Alessandro Tonelli, though, went over the top of the Croce di Casale with his teammate Piganzoli, who crossed the line in first place. But eventually those riders were caught as well, and the group came back together again. More attacks going off the front before eventually, and bit by bit, a 20-rider breakaway did go clear as they approached the big climb of the day, the Category 1 Sassotetto climb. The last of the riders to make the junction was Manuele Tarozzi from VF Group Bariani. The King of the Mountains, Lorenzo Fortunato, went through the second sprint at Sarnano in first place. Then Romain Bardet attacked the 20-rider group towards the top of the big Category 1 climb of the day, but Fortunato had enough to come round the Frenchman and take the maximum 40 points to extend his lead in the King of the Mountains competition. Two categorised climbs remaining, but the breakaway at the front of the race was starting to shatter as the peloton started to show signs that they would allow potentially the Maglia Rosa to change hands. Two of the Astana riders, Diego Ulissi and Lorenzo Fortunato, in the front group, both riding relatively high in the general classification and both above Primož Roglic in the virtual GC on the road. Igor Arrieta then playing his part for UAE Team Emirates in this 20-rider move. And then Diego Ulissi and Wilco Kelderman, with 50 kilometres to go, went solo, breaking away the constituent parts of the breakaway. They were joined by Luc Plapp and Igor Arrieta. And then towards the top of the Montelago climb, Luc Plapp attacked, went over the top of the climb and was not seen again. Wilco Kelderman, Diego Ulissi and Igor Arrieta riding for a battle for second place at the finish line in Castel Raimondo as the time gap continued to grow to the front of the race. Lorenzo Fortunato in a chase group 2 minutes and 5 seconds down on Luc Plapp. Plapp went over the Red Bull kilometre in first place as the chase behind in the fourth group started to close on the Arrieta and Diego Ulissi Wilco Kelderman groups. Arrieta was then caught back after an attack by Diego Ulissi and Wilco Kelderman as Luc Plapp went over the final categorised climb of the day and towards a victory by a handsome margin in the end. The first ever stage of a Grand Tour for the popular and talented Australian. Luc Plapp, the winner in style from a 20-rider breakaway of Stage 8 of the Giro d'Italia, his first World Tour win. So Luc Plapp, the winner. But after that then, Diego Ulissi and Wilco Kelderman came to the line. Ulissi in third place had to wait until the Maglia Rosa of Primož Roglic came across the line before it was confirmed that for the first time in his long career he would wear the Maglia Rosa. The winner of the stage though, Luc Plapp, And he did it solo and in style. A 38-second lead ahead of Wilco Kelderman and Diego Ulissi in third place. Ulissi then, overcome by emotion, pulling on the pink jersey and giving it a kiss to boot. He leads the Giro d'Italia by a slender margin to his teammate Lorenzo Fortunato in second place at 12 seconds. Roglic drops to third at 17 seconds. Mads Pedersen extended his lead still further in the Maglia Ciclamino. Lorenzo Fortunato added a huge amount of points to his lead in the King of the Mountains competition. And Juan Ayuso, in the white jersey, closed the gap to Primož Roglic by 1 second, out-sprinting Roglic to close the gap to 3 seconds. He leads by 6 seconds to Isaac del Toro.